a very important wind has changed in England. Very, very important. The Labour Party. That's the other party, not the Conservatives, the Labour Party, made a statement. The statement was made by the Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell, and it was made toward the end of January, last month. And he outlines a change in the strategy of the British Labour Party. Here's what they said. In the past, we, as a socialist party, which the Labour Party described itself for much of its history as that, we were in favor of the government playing a much larger role in the economy. The government running the railroads, the government running the universities, the government doing a great deal, like the National Health Service in England and so forth. But we are changing our policy. I'm going to quote now. When it comes to the wider economy, Labor should look elsewhere, not to the government for solutions. And instead, we should draw on the tradition of supporting workers' cooperatives. Whoa. That the new socialism of the Labour Party in England, and that's a big party. I mean, they've been in office often. They can win the next election, maybe. Not easy, but maybe. We are now going to use the power of the government, but to give socialism a new meaning, a new task, a new definition. Socialism is about changing the organization of enterprises, factories, offices, stores, from the top-down capitalist system of a few people at the top, the owners, the major shareholders, the board of directors, telling everybody else what to do. And we're not doing that. We're not socialists in the sense we're going to take that away from the private owner and unchanged give it to the government. So instead of a private capitalist sitting at the top, a government official sits at the top. No. That's what we used to do. We're not doing that anymore. That's not what socialism in the 21st century is going to mean. What is it going to mean? We are going to primarily, I'm going to read, support giving employees in companies which are about to be sold off. Companies about to be sold. Or companies about to be floated on the stock exchange. Workers are going to get the first option to purchase the company. And the government is going to help them do it, and the government is going to finance them to do it. The government is going to print the money and make the loan to the workers to take over. That means if an entrepreneur, an inventor, comes up with a new thing and makes a business and it's successful, and then that person reaches old age or loses interest and the business is now going to be passed on, it cannot be bought by another company. It cannot be. It cannot be made into a joint stock company that rich people buy and own. It can only, the first option will be given to the workers. It's a regularization of a transformation from a capitalist, top-down, hierarchical economic system in each enterprise to a system of worker cooperatives. This is an amazing change, and only because it is not understood is this buried in the media that don't understand what it means that a major political party in a major country in the world, Britain is small, but it's still an important player in the world economy, that their number two political party would make that commitment that entails changing what socialism and what their target policy is astounding. And it leaves a kind of challenge, is my last point for today for all of you. It leaves a challenge. And the challenge is put at the feet of Bernie Sanders. Because Bernie Sanders is still championing the old socialism, The socialism of the government coming in. The socialism of Scandinavia, Denmark he uses as the example. The socialism of the government playing a role. And I'm not saying for or against it, but that his image of socialism, or what he calls democratic socialism, he puts that adjective there, hasn't yet come to terms. But it took a step. If you read the economic platform of Bernie Sanders, down low, it's not the primary one, but down low there is a, we should support co-ops. It's in there. He has it. He doesn't give it the play that Mr. McDonnell in Britain does, or at least not yet. But these are more than straws in the wind. Socialism doesn't stay the same any more than anything else does. Socialism is changing. Socialists learned from what happened in the Soviet Union and China that if you have the government do all those things, you run a risk that that government becomes too powerful, too much, goes too far. Socialists aren't stupid. They reacted. Well, what does that mean? How do we deal with that problem? And the answer that is emerging as the dominant new answer is you make sure that the power rooted above all in the economy is grounded in the mass of people. And the best way to do that is to make the enterprise owned and operated by the people who work there. Not some tiny group that can make the government serve it, but the mass of people own and operate these enterprises. This is a new meaning and a new direction. And it will give socialists an enormous political advantage. Because what people who don't like socialism don't like is the old socialism. They're not even ready to hear what it might mean for each of you, each person in America, to be told what socialists are about is to change the workplace. You're not going to be a drone anymore. You're not going to come 9 to 5, 5 days a week, be told what to do, how to do, where to do, and then you go home and leave it behind. You're going to come to work. You're going to have a particular task, but you're part of the people who own and operate that enterprise. You're on the board of directors. How come? Because you work here. And everybody who works here is a democratic participant in making all the decisions. Wow. It's going to change your life. It's going to develop your character, your personality, your capabilities. Working is going to be an interesting thing, not a drudgery you have to go through to get the money you need to live. It's actually going to be something you look forward to doing because it's a development of yourself as a human being. That should always have been socialism's dream. It's now actually being realized in a concrete way.